name is Steve Crown, and it's the 6th of October where he will be coming to Adum Praise. Ye be him. God's been so good to all of us. So good. And once in a while, like we're doing on the 6th of October at Perez Dome, it's appropriate to gather and give praise to him. One of my favorite men will be there. Joe Metal is on that bill. It will be good at the Perez Dome. It will cost you only 50 Ghana cedis. So make sure you get a ticket. Let's all gather at the Perez Dome and let's give God some praise. There will be more of this kind of music on our show, so watch out. But let's do the newspapers, shall we? More Steve Crown later on in the program, but you can send me your messages as well. It's very much welcome. Regular SMS messages. Before you ask me where Roland is, well, Roland's not feeling too well. He held the fort for the past 2 days when I was away, so we wish him well. Good rest, Roland Walker. Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. And on the front page of the Graphic, power tariffs to go down, not in 2017, sorry to disappoint you, it's in 2018. It will be captured by the budgets, according to the Energy Minister. Full details of that story on page 3. Legislation on beneficial ownership in the offing, also another front page headline. Forum of Public Sector Workers suspends intended strike, and journalists go to the polls today. We'll have our cameras go around to find out what's happening. So the press center is a voting center, the Daily Graphic as well, the Ghanaian Times, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, I think a couple of others. But regional executives will also be elected in this exercise. So we'll tell you how it's going. This is our own, but are we really interested in this one? We'll find out more. A little of the details. This one is on page 3. It has to do with the power tariffs that's expected to go down. Says electricity consumers are likely to enjoy tariff reduction next year when the government presents its 2018 budget to Parliament. The Minister of Energy, Mr. Boakye Kyerematen Ejiakon, has said, here's a quote, "It is the government's faithful expectation that we should be able to reduce energy tariffs," he said at a press conference in Accra last Wednesday. This is Boakye Ejiakon. Yeah, that's the energy minister. So details of this and the current power situation, he touches on that as well in the paper. On the back page of the Daily Graphic, though, we've got this. Tala Oil provides water systems for communities in Western region. Maybe I'll just go back to this page 16 on the public forum, or Forum for Public Sector Workers, who have decided to suspend an intended strike action. Details of that story on page 16. Ghana will... Okay, no, not quite. The Forum for Public Sector Registered Pension Scheme has suspended its intended indefinite nationwide strike slated to begin today. The strike was intended for the forum to press home its demand on the government to transfer funds belonging to it from a temporary pension fund accounts with the Bank of Ghana into the accounts of the 4 fund managers responsible for the public sector occupational pension scheme. And quotes, the forum has resolved to suspend temporarily the intended September 29, 2017 indefinite nationwide strike communicated earlier through a press release dated September 4, 2017, while the Joint Technical Committee completes its work on quotes. That's the chairman of the forum, Mr. Isaac Bampo Addo, telling journalists in Accra yesterday. This legislation on beneficial ownership, we've been told, is also in the offing, a bit of it. It says Ghana will amend the Companies Act 1963, Act 179 next year to unmask the real owners of businesses that are registered under the law. The amendment is also intended to incorporate provisions on beneficial ownership disclosure in the law to ensure more transparency, accountability, and prevention of corruption. One of the areas where a lot of people have said that there may be very senior political people behind is the media as well. So if they're going to be revealing who the owners of the companies, the real owners of the companies are, it'll be interesting to know some of the names of people who are involved in media in Ghana today. All right, that's it for the Daily Graphic, but that's not to say there are a lot more stories in the paper But let's move on to the Finder newspaper. Front page of the Finder. Is it drama? Is it an ongoing drama, or things just unfolding? Is it one big of a mess? I don't know. But audio was doctored, says Deputy CID boss. But what happened at Kolebu that warrants corruption tag? And this is still very much a developing story. We know that Kwame Asare-Obeng, alias A+, seemed to be in the center of something that's been unfolding. But also ACP Mrs. Mameya Tiwa Ado Dankwa, who's a deputy CID boss. An audio that's been going around. Initially, we were not quite sure who the person was, but she came out and issued a press release, and she owned up, except that she says what we've heard is doctored, has been worked on, but A+ is denying doing that. He says, it is not him. But details of that story, let's see how this one's been angled in the Finder newspaper. It's actually one of our hottest stories in Ghana today, just so you know. Deputy Director General of the Criminal Investigation Department, Assistant Commissioner of Police, says a leaked audio said to be a telephone conversation between her and Kwame Asare-Obeng, alias A+, is doctored. She acknowledged that in the course of the investigations into corruption allegations by A+ against the two deputy chiefs of staff, she had a series of discussions relating to the subject matter with A+, some of which were via telephone. Quote, I have listened to the purported telephone conversation between myself and A+ many times, and it is very obvious that my conversation with him has been doctored and or edited to achieve a deliberate, mischievous and evil purpose. Much of the content of the said tape is a total fabrication and a figment of the author's imagination. You can continue to read if you haven't spotted the press release yet. But we're waiting on the police. So what's the way forward? This is a big official, a deputy CID boss. So are they going to be instituting some kind of investigation into this to find out who did this tape? But most importantly, really, so the words that are scattered that have been put together, was it said, or somebody said some of the words in it as well? Where are we going from here? And some of the things that I have heard in the tape also kind of agrees somehow with A+'s allegations. So is there something happening at Kolebu? Are there some corruption activities that are going on? We need more. CID, your first, the earlier release that said what A+ said could not be substantiated, all the allegations were just made. You have to come back again, because now we're hearing things. And so I don't know about you, but send me a text message. It is us, we are the citizens. So tell me what you think the CID or the Ghana police should do in the face of this new development. And things are still unfolding. Somebody pushes somebody too hard, we just might hear something else again. But also on the front page of the Finder newspaper, Ghana's ports will be world-class customs world. Dr. Baumia with Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, who's chairman and CEO of Dubai Port World. Okay, so details of that. How will our ports be classified as world-class? I guess you can dig in and read the details of that story. Also, 133 Ghanaians with artificial eyes. In the story, I think they say you can get it for 800 Ghana cedis if you want some artificial eyes. And they can quite make you look natural. You can turn your eyes, blink, and do everything normal. So if you're interested, if you need, just read the details in the Finder. Absence of RTI law, a mockery, according to the coalition that's been working on this, and we know that it's gone to Parliament out. There's a new Parliament in session. There's a new administration. Also, we'll see if this surfaces anytime soon in Parliament. Hopefully, the pressure will let this bill pass. Some of my staff are in bed with Goro Boys. Who is saying that? Is the director of Passport. He's revealing. Is he revealing? No, he's just confirming what a lot of people have suspected for such a long time, that there are people within the Passport office, there are people who are working, former workers, who are dealing with these Goro boys taking advantage of people. But is it enough that the passport boss would just tell us this? He's got to dig them out in that office and fire them. And yeah, so details of all of that in the Finder newspaper as well. Let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page of the Ghanaian Times, GJA goes to the polls today. President applauds Professor Emeritus J.H. Nketia, and at his birthday, great people met with another great man who's lived for such a long time in Ghana. I think it's about 96, is he? Police grabbed 7 land guards, 5 die in gory accident in Tamale. That's actually the banner headline on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Let's see a bit of the details of that particular story on page 17. Story says 5 persons died while several passengers sustained various injuries when the man diesel truck in which they were traveling was involved in an accident on the Tamale-Yendi main road. The deceased were among traders who were returning to Tamale from Sang in the Minyon districts of the Northern Region. The Northern Regional Police Public Relations Officer, Assistant Superintendent of Police, Yusuf Mohammed Tanko, who confirmed this to the Ghanaian Times yesterday, said the accident occurred at Wamale near Tamale on Thursday. He said the bodies of the deceased had been deposited at the Tamale Teaching Hospital mortuary for autopsy. Not good. Yeah, this is it on Emeritus Professor Nketia. Okay, so how old is he? Did I get it? Yes, 96. He is now. Happy birthday to Professor Emeritus Nketia for his exemplary achievement at age 96. President described him as a composer, writer, scholar, instrumentalist, and a Ghanaian patriot, amongst other descriptions in the paper. So he joined in his 96th birthday celebration. I think former President Rawlings was also there. Yeah. Okay, back page of the Ghanaian Times now. 100 MSMEs to be trained in management production practices. What's that? It's micro, small, and medium enterprises across the country. They are supposed to be trained in good management and production practices to boost productivity. Also on the back page, we'll push those who bury without certificates according to the death registry. So the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has warned that the birth and death registry will soon start enforcing sanctions that bar people from burying their deceased ones without obtaining certificates. You need a lot of certificates in your life when you're alive, but when you die, what you probably would not know in your death is that you need another certificate to be buried. Do you need a certificate to go to heaven or hell? I don't know. Somebody will have to go there and come back and tell us. Let's do the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Front page of the Daily Dispatch. Government cannot reduce prices. A minister's bombshell on fuel prices. Government cannot reduce prices. They cannot or they will not. A+ doctored, quotes, leaked tapes. CID Deputy Director. The 656 journalists who vote today. All of that in the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Also, is Richard Anani MPP's next leader? Well, they speak to him. You can check that out. What exactly did he say? All in the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Let's move on real quick to the Daily Statesman newspaper. In front page of the Statesman, 10,000 Ghanaians suffering from dementia. Trump's policy for Africa encouraging President Akufo-Addo. J.H. Nketiah's 96 years of exemplary achievement celebrated. That's the front page headlines in the Daily Statesman newspaper. Let's move on to Roland's favorites. The Daily Guide newspaper, front page of the Guide. Trump has good plans for Africa. That's Nana Addo Akufo-Addo saying there. And this is, yes, the picture. Yes, I think this is what I saw a bit earlier. The 96th birthday celebration. And there you have it on the front page of the Daily Guide. There's President Akufo-Addo in a handshake with former President Jerry John Rawlings. and there was a fundraising ceremony in honor of Professor Kwabena Nketia in Accra. Looking on is Nana Konadu Rawlings, former First Lady. That picture is on the front page of the Daily Guide. Voltic FDA drag to courts. Dr. Anya Girl's gift to Kolebu. A+ tape doctored. CID boss breaks silence. ACP Mameya Tiwa Ado Dankwa, a name you hear all around the country today because of this incident. Two things of interest. Where's the Voltic FDA story in the paper? A bit of that. Why is Voltic and FDA going to court? A lawsuit claiming unfair trade practices, market abuse and public deception has been filed against Voltic Ghana Limited, a producer of bottled mineral water, and 6 other sachet water producing companies. The suit, which is before the Kumasi High Court, has the regulator, Food and Drugs Authority, as a co-defendant, having been cited for negligence of duty. The other defendants, they named there, they're all in here in the story. In its writ of summons, Century Investment Limited said Voltic has allowed the 6 sachet water producing companies to produce water under its trade brand name Voltic Cool Pack and pass them off as mineral water under some sort of franchising arrangement. So details of that all here in the Daily Guide. Mahama Minister calls Nana, quotes, and I'm not going to say that. I thought that we had moved on from some of these name callings, but apparently not. Fake cop gets 8 years. Prince Bar, 25, a resident of Koforidua or Kurasi in the Eastern Region, who was arrested on Monday for impersonating a police officer, has been sentenced to 8 years imprisonment by the Koforidua Circuit Court, presided over by Mercy Ade Kote. Prince Bar pleaded guilty to 5 counts, including impersonation, stealing, and deceit of public officer, and was sentenced on his own plea. He can go pretending in the prison like he's a police officer. It's a good place to pretend. That's it for the Daily Guide newspaper. Let's move on. The last paper we will do, and then we'll quickly go online, is the Weekend Crusading Guide. The new Weekend Crusading Guide. Front page is still A+, and the ACP Mame Ya Tiwa making front page headline boldly here. A+ doctored our conversation. CID duty boss reacts. Okay, but I've got a few questions. So is that how you even call somebody that you need in your office and start to talk to them, like in that kind of very familiar way? Forget about all the words that have been put together, but just the tone of the conversation. Is that in line as well? Maybe we need some police education on the show today or sometime to come. I don't know. Haven't been invited before. But if they did invite me and I went to write a statement and they needed me to make some amendments, will the phone call be that friendly? Just asking. Also on the front page, VIP welcomes Customs World to transform ports. GJ organizing secretary race. Jim 4 is the man set to roam home with victory. I guess this is like, you know, somebody campaigning for someone maybe. But that's it for the new Weekend Crusading Guide newspaper. Let's do online now. Hopefully you've sent me some messages. I'll read a few messages before Benedict comes in with sport, but let's do online. On myjoyonline.com/petition to probe Jinapo Asenso Boachi over A+ claim. Shrash has been petitioned to probe Deputy Chief of Staff Francis Asenso Boachi and Samuel Abu Jinapo over corruption claims made against them. So it's good that Shrash is also picking this up. And you know somebody has to petition them before they do. So now somebody has. Will they? That's also another question. I guess details of that will come up. Let's move on though real quick. The hashtag generation and the democratization of stupidity. Oh, this will be a good piece to read. Please make time and click on that story and read some more. Atomic Energy Commission can't pay for power fuel, according to its director, and he's been lamenting. Details of that on myjoyonline.com. Animal tuberculosis, a looming threat to public health. Do you know that cats and dogs can congregate human beings of various Okay, details of that, I'll leave it for you to check it out on myjoyonline.com. Also on our page, focus on quality education, not duration. That's a former education minister, Nana Opoku Agyemang. She's speaking more now than she did when she was minister. Chairman of Church of Pentecost honored in Ukraine. The Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine has honored the president of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council and chairman of the Church of Pentecost. All right. Expresso Ghana to lose license after 2019 expiry date. Sources within the telecom industry have hinted that the license of the operators of Expresso Telecom brand will not be renewed after it expires in 2019. And I thought there was hope. Multimedia Group's Opoku Gakpo wins international award in Uganda. He's won an international award for agriculture reporting in Uganda. Very passionate Joseph Opoku Gakpo as parliamentary correspondent, but he never abandoned his first love. That's agric, and he continues to do stories on that. We're super proud of you, Joseph. Congratulations to you. NCA sanctions over 100 FM stations, revokes licenses of 21 stations. So the 21 stations, are they on air this morning? The NCS has sanctioned a total of 131 FM authorization holders, it says, have violated various aspects of the Electronics Communications Act. Oh, somebody's been working now. Throwback Thursday, Apache Akata, bring memories in Canada. Armed robbers attack, kill nurse at Sola, amongst many other stories. June 3 twin disaster report missing as Hosi demands passage of RTI bill. See, in the absence of the bill, you can't even do follow-up questions like, who do you even ask? Who do you talk to? If nobody's talking to you, what can you do? So we need this bill passed, seriously. And if a disaster that got all of us talking, all of us gathering and saying never again, if we can't even find the report on that, then on what basis do we sit back and say never again? So we all have to push. All of us, we must push. This parliament must pass this. It has to be before the end of December. Do I have too much expectations, or I'm too hopeful? But if you miss any of our content on television, well, you can always go to my Joy Online. There's a link that will take you there so you can be updated on what you've missed on Joy News. Let's do City FM. NCA finds Radio Gold, Atlantis 120 million Ghana cedis. Others lose licenses. I tell you what, it's not just Radio Gold and Atlantis. There are many, many, many names in there. Also, we won't apologize over fuel price hikes. MPA replies minority. Over 650 GJA members to vote in keen elections. Is it or not today? Nana Addo should invite CID woman over leaked tape. Well, there was an aspect of the tape that said, somebody said they wanted the president so that they can, well, I don't know. All right, so that's it for City FM Online. Real quick, let's do the BBC, and then it will be a wrap. Africa highlights Kenya opposition anger at election law plans. 19 die of plague in Madagascar. Raila Odinga calls new protests against plans to fast-track law changes. There's also panic in eastern Madagascar over major plague outbreak. Toddler run over by Boko Haram walks again. North Africa battle in Champions League. Murder of Steve Biko. Remembering the South African anti-apartheid icon. A lot of other stories. You might be interested. It's on the BBC Africa page. All right, let's do some messages that you've been sending. Some messages that you've been sending to us. This one says, the government's mandate is 4 years. The NDC should not worry, but keep quiet and allow the president to fulfill all the promises in 4 years' time. That's from Asamoah from Tamale. Okay, this one says, I just want to understand how our police investigate allegations. Is it to mean that if the one who alleges cannot provide the evidence, then the issue is baseless, even for the CID, Jolalian Nyanyovo, Savior? in Ava Dapa, asking the questions that a lot of people have also been asking. But in the absence of the RTI bill, man, we can only be asking. Hopefully, if they come and give us some answers, whether it's satisfactory or not, they move on. Yeah. From the explanation given by the Ministry of Energy, the workers of electricity or ECG have been exposed for their unreasonable demand for a severance award. Akada shot Raymond Osafujan in Kwewu Tafo. This is Akoto Razak in Tamale, saying Ghanaians are feeling high utility bill, high fuel prices, high cost of living. We need a savior. You're saying. A.U. Farouk, also in Tamale, says MPP today has no moral right to tell us. Not sure, but you're commenting on the fuel prices. Can't read it straight, so you've got to send that message again. This one says, okay. All right, I'm not going to share it. This one also says, why is it that our leaders, especially the current government, is not ready to add first years of the NVTI into the free education? Why? So lots of whys. This one also says, join me, wish my son Owusu Amponsa Jemfi a happy birthday today. He's 2 years today. Amponsa Jemfi Ahafoman Senior High Technical School. Happy birthday to your son, who's 2 years. We'll leave it here. We've got more conversations to come on this day. But how do you stay faithful in a very difficult marriage? Yeah. It's our Relationship Friday. But before that, we've got Benedict Emmanuel Datsi of Odoko Church of Christ and EcoBank Barrier branches. Your birthday today is from Echo. And your wife, Patsy, enjoy your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Stay with us. Benedict is right up next with a lot of sports, after which we'll begin our conversation. Elder Amos Kevin Anan will be on the show this morning. And I'll come to you live from Kempinski. We're talking a lot of democratization. Things to expect here on the show. Stay with us.